What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So the year 2020, which has felt more like a decade rather than a single year at this point, is over in a few days. And now we get to start looking forward to 2021 and what that year has in store for us with video games. And Famitsu ran their usual article that they will do every year at the end to kind of get predictions, thoughts, and plans from different developers and publishers in Japan for the year coming up, and they did so for 2021, and there were some interesting little bits of information in there that we're going to go over, which had updates for things like Bayonetta 3, Shin Megami Tensei 5, Final Fantasy 16, and even a lot of pointing towards anniversaries coming up for Persona, Fatal Frame, even Ace Combat, so quite a few things to go over here today with that. And it looks like Nintendo also announced another game trial, and it appears to be kind of trending in an interesting direction that we'll talk about here today. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure that like button helps out a ton, and if you're new here to the Spawn Wave channel, make sure you subscribe down below. And we're going to start today with Titan Quest, which is an awesome game released back in 2006, and they've done re-releases on it. We talked about the Switch port even as recently, what was that, 2018, and it came out, needed some patches because it was kind of buggy at times, glitchy even, and would have some issues with crashing, but it seems that they kind of smoothed that out with different patches. But we've kind of been asking, since all of these ports have been happening, does this mean that there will be a full-on sequel for this game? Because they have done expansions that released like out of nowhere years and years later after it originally released in 2006. Well, check this tweet out here. This is from Handy Games, who's part of Embracer Group with THQ Nordic, saying we're working on something legendary. Guess what? And well, that looks like the Titan Quest title card there for 2021. Now, a lot of questions still. Is this just another expansion that they're going to have built on top of that 2006 version of the game? Or is this going to be a full-on sequel, one that they've been able to build with from the ground up with newer technology now and development tools? I would like to think that's the case, but who knows? They could just be releasing another expansion to kind of sell to people who already have it currently. I'd like to think, like I said, a sequel's coming. We'll see in 2021, which, by the way, a lot of development cycles were kind of pushed because of the pandemic in 2020, and I feel like this could be another example of that. And I'm still thinking right now 2021 is going to be a packed year for games. Also, we had a really interesting video go up, especially if you're someone who likes kind of the lost history and add-ons even for different game systems. What about for the Game Boy? And specifically an add-on that would have made the Game Boy like a Palm Pilot or a PDA, something for more like productivity in like the business world. Well, check this out. This is a video that was posted over on Did You Know Gaming by Liam Robertson, and this is for the Workboy. And yeah, it's like a keyboard that appears to plug into the side of the original Nintendo Game Boy through that like link cable slot, and it turns it into a PDA. So you can do all kinds of stuff here, and he went over it in depth, heavily in depth on this video, even going as far as to talk about what could have been if this had worked out, where they had like a Game Boy Advance that looked like a little laptop almost that would open up and had plans for internet connection, like you could check your email on your Game Boy Advance. That was something that was planned out, but it's interesting to see this. What's really cool is that they managed to track one down and actually try it out on the Game Boy. I don't know how well this really would have done because it looked kind of clunky in the fashion that it was, where you carry this piece around with you in one hand and the Game Boy in the other. But if it could have come out and done at least okay, they probably could have built on top of it into the Game Boy Advance, and then who knows beyond that. Oh, and if you haven't felt old yet today, check this out here. This is a tweet that was put up. This new hub for Nintendo Switch Online will show you how old you were if a game was released in your birthday month. I missed that completely. I did not know that was a thing for the Nintendo Switch Online app that they had set up. But you can see we have Link to the Past there, released when you were turning 11 years old, and it tells you the release date and all that for it. It's just another fun little thing that Nintendo threw into the Nintendo Switch Online app. And yeah, for some people, it'll be interesting to think back and be like, oh yeah, you know what? I remember when Link to the Past came out, or when we get to Nintendo 64 games, you know, I remember when Mario 64 came out, because come on, that's next year, right? We're getting Nintendo 64 added into that Nintendo Online service. But to go back now and look at some of these, you know what I'm curious about? What happens if it released before you were born? does it just say you're not born yet? I haven't seen that. So let me know if you checked it and it said something like that. And guys, some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. We're starting right away with plans and predictions for 2021. Famitsu, like I said, ran an article where they went to different developers and publishers in Japan, trying to figure out what they had set up for 2021, some ideas that they had and what they wanted to pursue. And there were a lot of different companies that took part in this. So we're gonna go over some of them here, but I will also link down below. Gamatsu went through and did a lot of translations along with 4Gamer, who had information for this as well. But we'll start from the top here. We're gonna start with Atlas, actually, where they said, what's new? So about Shin Megami Tensei 5, we're working hard on development to make it an even better product. You'll be waiting a little while longer, but please look forward to it. Unfortunately, not a ton of information there on Shin Megami Tensei 5, just that they're still working on it. And then we have Koei Tecmo here saying 2021 is also the 20th anniversary of the Fatal Frame series, so I'd like to celebrate it in some way if possible. We're working hard to announce some titles by spring. We're developing a wide range of titles from those currently under adjustment to those with pending names. So Fatal Frame series anniversary coming up here. What do you guys think about that? Maybe have some of the older games get ported to the newer systems now, maybe even have a full collection or just a brand new game. Square Enix chimed in saying, I hope Bravely Default 2 is a success and that I can prepare for the next one, whether that's 3rd or 3, I don't know. We'll see when Bravely Default 2 drops in February, not too much longer there. And then we have future Final Fantasy VII developments are in preparation, but please wait a little while longer for details. That's something we hear quite a bit with some of these different plans. They can't say anything, just that they are developing and rolling along with all of that. Then we have Dragon Quest will celebrate its 35th anniversary. So I hope to be able to announce something. So what would we do with Dragon Quest exactly here? Because they've already been porting some of these games over, unless they want to do a collection or maybe even work to announce the next Dragon Quest. Sega wanted to let us know that they have projects that are being developed right now since the beginning of 2020, saying working hard as a team to be able to announce details in 2021. So please look forward to it, which I would expect something with Sonic, because they already told us that they are working on a new 3D Sonic game. It has to be Sonic Adventure 3. Come on, Sega, do the right thing here. And then maybe, of course, Sonic Mania 2. Bandai Namco actually talked about Ace Combat for the 25th anniversary, saying they were scheduled for 2020, but unfortunately weren't realized, though in a different form. Please continue to support the Ace Combat series. So what they're going to attempt to do, it looks like, is have their Ace Combat 25th anniversary this year, even though it would have been this previous year due to the pandemic. So they say in a different form. It could be some sort of special edition. They could do something with the soundtrack, even put it on vinyl or something like that. It's interesting stuff to think about that if you're an Ace Combat fan. Hideki Kamiya from Platinum Games also talked a little bit about Bayonetta 3, but also Project GG, saying, first off, many people are worried about Bayonetta 3 considering there hasn't been any new information since the announcement, but verifications of new systems have been going great and development is going very well. So please wait with peace of mind. This is a copy of my comment in 2020. So he just copy and pasted his comment from earlier in the, okay, thanks Kamiya. Also, Project GG, title tentative, has finally started moving, so please look forward to it. I mean, Kamiya has to understand why people are concerned about Bayonetta 3, since we haven't seen it since the Game Awards like years ago, and even that was like a 30-second teaser or something, and every year we're like, well, Bayonetta 3's probably coming out this year. No, here we are still saying that exact same thing, but for 2021. I mean, that's gotta be the year, right? 2021 for Bayonetta 3. They gotta do something with it, even just show us a trailer, gameplay, anything. And then we have HAL Laboratory, saying we at HAL Laboratory will continue to deliver games in 2021 filled with 3 key values: surprise, fun, and warmth. Thank you very much. In 2021, I want to realize another kind of weird game from HAL Egg. Please play Part-Time UFO. It's a fun game that you'll absolutely enjoy. Let me know what you think. Then they say, we'll keep working hard on our goal in 2021, that is for as many people as possible to enjoy Kirby games. We have plans not only for games, but also for merchandise, books, and a variety of events like with the Kirby Cafe. We hope you'll continue to support both Kirby and HAL Laboratory in 2021. And you know what? Kirby Star Allies came out in 2018. That means it'd be about 3 years, right? Because that was early in 2018 that came out, and that would make sense for them to maybe be coming up on the end of another development cycle for another 3D or 2D style Kirby game, and that'd be pretty cool to see that drop, or at least just announce it. And then we're gonna circle back around here to Atlas with Persona, saying my project has been steadily in the works. Thanks to everyone, the Persona series will celebrate its 25th anniversary. We have exciting plans in the works, so please look forward to it. And you know what? I think this could be pretty big. Now, Persona goes back a while, like quite a while, back to the PS1, but not everyone really knows that because they didn't play those games. And you know, it's tough because they're not available on PC or maybe on the Switch or on like the PlayStation 5, right? What if they go back, Atlas, and actually starts porting these games up? They saw the success of Persona 4 Golden on PC. Maybe they're like, well, what if we just go get some of our other legacy titles from the Persona series and move them up? How would those sell? I kind of think they might do that for the 25th anniversary for Persona, since they're going to look back through the Persona series. Maybe they do a full collection. What if there's a massive big box special edition? You know what? I'm getting ahead of myself here, but I do think they're going to port some of the older Persona games up to current platforms, and that could include the Switch, but I'm pretty confident it will at least include Steam on PC. But exciting stuff here, certainly. And like I said, 2021 is looking to be a pretty packed year for games. However, looking at this list, of course, outside of like Final Fantasy 16 that's been mentioned by Square with the same typical, oh, we'll give you more information coming up for Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy 14, as well as Final Fantasy 7. I'm really hoping that Bayonetta 3 is actually shown and finally released. It's seriously been this long drawn out thing for it, and that's concerning a lot of people. So I'm hoping that means that it is just a bigger Bayonetta game than we were expecting, and they have some really cool ideas that they had to think outside of the box for. So here's hoping 2021 is a big year for gaming. I think it will be. Next up, let's talk about a new game trial that Nintendo has announced for the Switch. And it's interesting because Nintendo started out with a lot of first-party titles that they did, like they did Pokken Tournament, right? And then they did Mario Tennis Aces for a week. But now we're starting to see them kind of work into some of the third parties. Like we saw Overwatch very recently, just what, like a month or two ago? And now we can see this tweet here saying on December 30th, 11 a.m. Pacific until January 5th, 11:59 Pacific p.m., Nintendo Switch Online members can trial the full version of Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, including local and online multiplayer. It's the Crash Team Racing action you know and love, remastered and revved up on Nintendo Switch. So they start with first party, they're starting to move into third party, and I almost wonder if Nintendo is starting to work into having a game trial almost every month if they can do it. Now, we know that it does cost money if they want to give away games like we see Sony and Microsoft do with PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live games with Gold. We had that leak from Capcom that showed that Microsoft had to pay quite a bit of money to get something like Devil May Cry 5 into Game Pass. I don't think it would cost as much to give away an older game necessarily or move it into Game Pass, but I mean, we're talking like over $10 million, I believe, straight transfer to Capcom to make that happen and put DMC5 into Game Pass. So I do wonder if Nintendo, as more of a conservative company overall, they're just kind of trying it out. They're like, you know, sticking the toe in the water here for something like game trials. And I do wonder if they have plans to eventually move that to where you just get the game, you claim it as long as you do so in that month, and it's just yours. But I do wonder if the overall Nintendo Online service price has to increase for that to work, because they would be paying out to different developers and publishers to bring that game in. Because I do think this has to evolve a bit further than just like a one-week game trial. Like, it is behind the other companies with Microsoft and Sony who just have several games that they give away and then will still complain that the selection isn't good. So we'll see here, but hey, you can at least try out CTR. It's a fun game. I mean, you're gonna get a full week to just see what you think about it, and then I guess after that you can buy into it and just own the game. At least there's a way to kind of trial some of these, I guess. In our last bit of news, let's talk about speedrunning Dragon Quest III. It seems kind of difficult, doesn't it? Because you would have to run around, do all these random battles, level up enough to be able to beat the game. But what if you could start at level 99 right away? Well, it probably takes a button combination or some kind of weird glitch to do in game with a sequence of events like we see other speedrunners do, or you just put it on a hot plate and heat the entire system and cartridge up. That's really what's happening right now. Check this tweet out here. This is from VG Zensetsu saying, after noticing that you could cause a bug in the saves from Dragon Quest III by increasing the temperature of the cartridge and start at level 99 at a specific temperature, a player has made a speed run of the game with his console resting on a hot plate. I gotta say, that is a new one to me. I'm actually curious as to why that's happening. So you heat up the cartridge and the system on a hot plate that's temperature controlled, so you figure out the correct temperature, which do you have to tell other speedrunners that so there's a level playing field there? I'm not sure, but the fact that you can heat up the cartridge and the system, I guess, all at once, and all of a sudden you start the game and you're at level 99. There's some interesting stuff there. It's like fourth wall breaking for the game because you're affecting the cartridge itself in order to speedrun a game that would not be able to be run through that fast in the first place. I don't know, how legal would that be in in some of these speed runs? It's interesting to think about bringing a hot plate to a competition or something and just like, yep, drop the system down there. I'm gonna start at level 99 for this run. And we'll finish up with a comment of the day as you're seeing here. This is from What saying, surprisingly well doesn't mean it runs good, so it's not really something you can win. And I get what you're saying there. I do think they need more evidence than just the head of CD Projekt Red saying on a conference call with investors that it's running surprisingly well, because they could say, well, we thought it was gonna run at 5 frames per second and it ran at 10. That's surprisingly well for us and what we were thinking it was going to do. Although that means that then they would have released it at 5 frames per second unless the threshold was that 10. Now, obviously, I'm being over the top here with that. It runs better than 10 frames per second most of the time, but there are dips and times where the game just freezes for a few seconds as you're driving around or doing things in the game. So clearly, it was not in a good state to release. And trust me now, definitely now, they're going to comb through anything and everything they said, even mentioning the last gen versions at all. In passing doesn't matter. And there'll probably be a lot of questions for developers who are willing to talk about it, like we've seen Bloomberg with Jason Schreier be able to collect information there and what was really going on in the background. So yeah, this thing is going to be going on for a long time as they gather testimonies, evidence, all of these different things. And CD Projekt saying, yeah, we're going to fight against this lawsuit heavily. So yeah, it's me some interesting stuff to see how all this goes down. And ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button, really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today, whether it's 2021 in gaming and some of the plans from different developers and publishers in Japan. Were there any in there that got you really excited? Maybe you want a new Kirby game and you're happy to hear that we'll probably be getting one in 2021. Or what do we do with the Persona 25th anniversary? Think like me, where it's like Steam ports all over the place, big box special edition, drop it on all the newer platforms now, just go crazy with Persona in 2021. And then what about Nintendo and these game trials? I feel like they gotta give us a little bit more than just 7 days of CTR and then just 7 days of Overwatch. And you know what? Maybe they are working up to that point. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.